Welcome to the Subby Zone. Episode 2, entering quadratic equations into the quadratic formula and cunnilingus. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this up. Right, so as we went over in the last episode, the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root. You could say this with me. B squared minus 4ac. It's all over 2a. Okay. Now we derived it the last episode, but now let's enter some equations in to see what we get. Okay, so let's look at this. X squared plus 16x plus 64. Now we don't have to do the quadratic formula to figure this out. This is obviously x plus 8 squared. That means so when would y equal 0 with x plus 8 squared? That y would equal 0 when x is negative 8, right? Because negative 8 plus 8 is 0 squared, right? And so what that means is we have this, and then this goes to negative 8. Right there, y would be, it's going to be a parabola like that. A little off screen, but you get the point. So that would be what it is. Okay, but now let's check our quadratic formula to see if this is correct. Okay, so let's enter this in. So x squared is the same thing as 1x squared. So 1 is our a, b is 16, and c is 64. Alright, so let's enter it in. So we got negative 16 plus or minus the square root of 16 squared minus 4 times 1 times 64. Right? And then all over 2a, which is 2 times 1, which equals 2. Okay, so let's first figure out the square root. So square root, so we got 16 squared, which is 256, minus, so we got 256, put it down here, square root of 256 minus, and then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 times 64 is 256. So we got plus or minus, so we got negative 16 plus or minus 256 over 2. And then obviously these become 0. The square root of 0 is 0, and it doesn't matter plus or minus. 0, negative 0, and plus 0 or positive 0 is the same thing. So negative 16 over 2, which is equal to negative 8. And they are equivalent. So that's a good way to check your work, see if you're entering the calculations in pretty easy. Now this is a very short lesson. We're going to go back to a harder problem, but first we're going to go to cunnilingus. So cunnilingus is spelled like this. That's the first part of the lesson. It comes from the Latin word cunus, which is equal to vulva, and also the Latin word of lingerie, say it, which means lick. So this means lick vulva, the tongue. Okay. Now the vulva is like the outer part of the vagina. Okay, and the vulva contains the labia majora and minora. Labia majora, which is the outer lips, and labia minora, which is the inner lips, and your clitoris, which is also called a clit, which is a slang term for it. So you want to, with licking the vagina, you want to focus on that clit, which is it's on top of the vagina, like on the top part of the vagina, and it looks like a little hood. Like think about a hood for like a sweater. There's like a little face in there. It looks like a hood, and it expands as it becomes more pleasured. And the only use for it, only function of the clit is pleasure. So you can focus on that if you are licking a vagina. Okay. All right, now let's go back to the quadratic formula. So again, say it with me. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, now let's do a little bit of a harder one. So we have 4x squared plus 10x plus 2. Okay, so our a is 4, our b is 10, and our c is 2. All right, so we're going to have negative 10 plus or minus the square root 10 squared minus 4 times 4 times 2. Now, all over 2 times 1, which equals 2. All right, now let's first do the square root. So minus the square root of 100 minus 4 times 4 is negative 16 times 2 equals negative 32. So minus 32 over, and then negative 10 stays the same, and we're going to have over 2. All right, plus or minus the square root of 100 minus 32, that's going to be 68. Square root of 68. And which I'll enter into my calculator, which is about 8.25. Now we won't worry about sig figs here. Let me cross that out. It's going to be negative 10 plus or minus 8.25. We're going to round up now. It's a bigger number than that. But we're not going to worry about sig figs here just because it's a lesson. I want to keep this short. And this is going to be over 2. So negative 10 plus 8.25 is going to be negative 1.75 over 2, and then the other x, which is x equals negative 18.25 over 2. Okay, and you could get it smaller, you could reduce this fraction and everything, but that's just what we have for now. And as you know, so these will be your y-intercepts. So at those points on the x-intercept is where this y will be 0. at these points. I will be 0. I will equal 0. Okay, now let's finish up with the cunnilingus lesson. Right, so with cunnilingus, if you're giving it, the biggest thing is about the person receiving it. Okay, the woman receiving it. Okay, is she comfortable? Is she the one? Right. One of the biggest things to think about is protection, safety. So you think about getting a dental dam, which is just or a or plastic wrap. You don't have a dental dam, or even a cup. And those just go over. You can get a dental dam at like a section of it, and those just go over the vagina while you lick it, and it can prevent STIs. Okay, but say you're comfortable with the partner, and partner wants to have her vagina licked, then what will you do? So one of the biggest things is her comfort. Now she might have might be self-conscious of her vaginal smell. So to make her more comfortable, don't try not to do it after like working out, or maybe do it after a shower, or try not to do it in the morning. Think about her being self-conscious. And then you don't want to just jump in right in. It's a sensitive thing. Tease a little bit, kiss the thigh, focus on the thighs, uh, kiss those thighs a little bit, lick the foot, have her relax, chill out, and then get into it. And then again, you want to focus on the clit. Okay, and you can do like a S S motion with your tongue. So your tongue goes down in an S type motion and then back up, or ABCs. Just go through the whole alphabet. So your A, your tongue is making an A motion, and then a B, and all the way to C, and then do it again, and go back. Just stay in there for a while, and you don't want to just focus on the clit. Like most of the time wants to be on the clit, and go down a little bit, go inside the vaginal lips, and really, and then you can do some humming on there, and that's a good feeling. Don't worry about the fingers in there unless she wants it, but it's unnecessary. The fingers, you can add it to spice it up a little bit, but mainly you want to just do the tongue on the clit. If you do that, I think it'll be okay. Really great. Well, thank you for listening, and hopefully this stops some of the voices and delusions I've been having. This appeases the gods, or satisfies